Oh, hey what? Other way? Hey! No? Not this? Another way? What? Oh! Hey everyone! So the final part of this spaceship video, we are going to do a little bit of 3D, and because I suck at 3D, but I really like VR 3D, we're going to do it in Gravity Sketch. But I'm still learning, so it's not a tutorial, it's just how I approach things. So let's get started. Okay, so I have built this little box with a top view, front view, side view, back view, and the bottom view as well that I already drew out. There is probably a better way to do this, but as I am still learning, I just brought this in from, I had them in this little reference images on my computer, and I just dragged them in here. I arranged them. As you drag something in from here, you see it has that little blue thing, which means that it will stay in that position, which is great if you're using it reference because it's always there. So this is also a good thing to have here. I am going to erase this. What I'm going to do is on this layer, let me see the layer, I'm going to bring down the opacity, and I already have built the spaceship a little bit just to test and see how things work. And I'm quite satisfied with it, but we are going to rebuild this. So I'm going to do something that usually is painful. I'm going to grab these two and just erase them. Goodbye. All that work gone. I'm going to lock this old layer, so because I don't want to mess with that one, and I'm going to work in this new layer. Now here I can bring in, I will probably need a front view and a side view, and I might need, I think that's my bottom view. I will need the top view, which is this one. Okay, let me blow this up a little bit, and I'm gonna put it here to the side. Okay, let's start by choosing an ellipse tool. Make sure that mirror is active. I tend to forget that, and I want to reposition this axis of my tool into this little dot there. As you can see, it's pretty well positioned there. Now looking where we start here, I'm gonna start plop, 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 and there we go. I forgot to bring up low poly. I like to work in low poly. It just makes more sense to me. And there we go. And now you just need to adjust it until it sort of fits here and also fits here. Right, this I like. We can move on to the rest. Basically we'll need a long shaft there. For that I just bring up the box. For the central line, I align this thing here. Let me see, there we go. Then when we create our little box, now we have a basis, and on this one we can start nicely building the rest of our spaceship. So what we're going to do is just take a plane here, make it smaller, and what I'm going to do is adjust it so it fits here. I'm going to turn it into a subdivision object, take these two little dots, bring them all the way back here, make sure that we adjust it nicely there as well. We can copy it. There is a tendency for me, just like with drawing, when you zoom in too much, you go too fiddly with the work, so watch out not to do that. Okay, we're going to basically paint to draw over this anyways. I need another cube, but this time I just want to freehand it. There we go. This cube is going to come here, maybe a bit smaller. I think that sort of works right there. Okay, so now I want this to be a bit more rounded, so we're gonna use this new tool, which is actually very handy. And what we can do here is actually
copy this one here and squeeze it together, make it a bit smaller as well. Okay, what we can do here is just copy this and turn it into sort of a stick like this. There we go. Once again, we're not striving for perfection with these. As with drawing, also here I like working with the basic building blocks as much as possible. One thing that I did before as well and want to do now as well, I want to transfer this one to a new layer. So I'm just going to create a new layer, call it glass, bring down the opacity a little bit on that one. And lock it. There we go. So that's good. We have that one. Now we can have a bit of fun. Come here, select this, make it a square. I was on the wrong layer. Sometimes it happens. Don't forget to switch back to the correct layer. Now all we need to do first of all is make sure that all these faces point in the right direction. And problem almost solved. Here we will need an ellipse again, which is the center is somewhere here, as you can see. Something that I forgot to do in the beginning, I like to put in a little figurine. There he is, just for reference. And this would be our guy here. Right, with that I would say we sort of have the bottom here. Let's take a look at the top where we will need another one of these. Okay, I think so far it's pretty okay. I like this. Now we have these sort of fenders, these things here, and that one there. And that we're going to use the surface tool. We don't need to be bent. Let's start there, there, there. And again, I'm going to turn it into a low poly object. I'm going to add one more thing there because that is needed. Something like that. What we can already do is make it an object, take away again subdivision, not necessary. I mean subdivision necessary, but it doesn't need to be smoothened out like that. And make it a little bit thicker like that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Align it here, it would be in that hole. Yeah. Big, small, small, big. Keep on forgetting to turn off or turn on low poly. There we go. Let's see. So I'm just going to very roughly follow this one here. Something like that. feel like it might be a bit too thick. We can thin it a little bit, maybe thin it like that. We can add a bit of thickness here, that it has a base. Although I don't need this because we'll have something else there. Wait, let me bring this out a little bit like there. You will see in a second what I mean by I don't need this. What we can do is just have a little bit of fun. Bring this in here and bring that in there. Just to have a little bit of versatility there, so it's slightly different. We sort of had something here. Like that. And this is what I meant, but you will see that will not be needed. A little bit like that. Actually, the size is pretty good. Again, here these seem a little bit too short, so I would definitely want to make a bigger one, but we are going to use this one. Plop. Okay, we're gonna use this tool, so we have a bit more control in the rotation. Like that. We're just gonna copy this, put it over there. And for this one, we can just reuse these.
We'll continue with this video after a couple of words from our sponsor.
And that is me! Yay! Well, actually, it is you, if you want to be. Many of you have asked me if I have a Patreon, and after sitting on it for a long time, I decided to start one. The idea is still to keep all the content I have made and will make for YouTube for free, but to add some extra stuff to Patreon. Patreon-only sketches, high-resolution JPEGs of my traditional work, full-length, unedited version of my YouTube videos, PSD files so you can see how I work, and more stuff to come. Since this is still a work in progress, I would love to hear if you have any wishes or ideas that I could add to my Patreon tiers. But, once again, Patreon is not a must and I am not going to take away any of the existing content. You already support me by watching my videos, liking, subscribing and sharing them. Patreon is here to give some bonus stuff to the awesome people who want to go an extra step in supporting me. So, go and check out my Patreon, link in the description below if you are interested. And with that, back to the video.
Okay, so we can do several things with our spaceships. First, straight out of Gravity Sketch, we can just say what angle we like. So I'm going to go here, pick the camera tool, and I am going to try and take some good pictures. What we can do, we can adjust the camera. Do we want it more orthographic, or do we want it a little bit more, 21 is usually, I don't know the exact proportions, so I just go with what I like. So this is pretty cool angle that we could use. So I just make sure that it's in the camera view and click. Instead of 1, we can do 16:9. So we can do a more cinematic sort of shot of this as well. Let's see. This looks pretty cool. Let's take a photo. And of course, if you're too lazy to do this, you can do this from landing pad as well. And in landing pad, you just pretty much open your sketch. This might take a little while, depending on how many elements you have in there. If you do not work in Gravity Sketch, no problem. You just have your Blender or whatever open. You can do easy screen grabs there as well. But since I'm working in Gravity Sketch, I want to show you the benefits of this. Now, the good thing, which sadly I cannot show here, you could open this on an iPad as well. So just sketch over an iPad. Let us go to layers. I'm going to turn off the orthographic view because we do not need that. Let's go to camera. Focal length, pull it down a little bit. That gives it a bit more foreshortening. I like that. If we turn it around, we see everything pretty well, pretty nicely. If we go to environment, if something is not working, you can push up the HDR. As you can see, you see much more shadow and highlight effects like this. And from here, you could either take screenshots here or you just blow this up. You wait a little bit, sometimes it takes a second or two, and you have a nice full view here. And you just position it whatever you like. Look at this. I think this is a pretty good shot. Maybe bend it a bit more. Now you either do a screen grab here, which will square image, transparent background. That's actually very useful. Capture, it puts it into your library. Here, there it is, a thumbnail, and we're just going to copy this, or download, sorry, save it as a PNG, go to Photoshop, and then just find the PNG you just downloaded and drag it into Photoshop. There we go. Here is our drawing. And now all you have to do is just draw over it. Of course, you can make this bigger, always duplicate that layer, blow it up a bit, bring down opacity, and you can start having all sorts of fun by drawing over this.
And I'm gonna speed up this drawing over part a little bit because we sort of saw something like this already in my previous videos, but this is also something that I might as well just put on my Patreon that you will get to see if you are a part of it. But with that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I try to share my, VR approach or Gravity Sketch approach as much as I could. So I do hope you learned something from it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you have any comments, leave them there as well. I really enjoy reading those and seeing what you think about the videos. As I said in the little advertisement, check out my Patreon. Maybe you find something that interests you there. But as always, the most important thing is that you folks have a great time and see you in the next video. Bye bye.